bump, 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 bump.
Welcome to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your host, George.
Gabe.
And Link.
I forgot that I say my name first.
It's okay. It happens all the time.
Forgot which camera I was looking at. I looked at your camera.
That's fine. You can point at whatever.
And it made
camera.
no sense.
Does it? I mean, it's still a camera.
It made no sense why you looked at that camera,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Okay.
like,
Where's your finger going?
Hey, yo.
you don't know where it's going, Trebek.
All right. So, without further ado, this week's episode, a giant-sized X-Men episode.
Yeah.
Guys, X-Men 97. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're
today.
talking specifically about X-Men.
We're not talking about the Bryan Singer stuff?
No,
No, we're cutting the crap. We're getting straight into it, just like this show does.
almost never.
No, I feel
Not
like the
not
show-
our show.
Oh,
X-Men 97.
Yeah, X-Men 97.
Oh,
Like, you
okay.
can tell they go straight to...
Oh yeah, they're like in the first episode. We're just gonna hit the ground running.
All right,
But-
so kick us off.
okay, so first let's talk a little bit about the history of the X-Men as a whole, and I'm not talking about some kind of documentary film because we know that our listeners don't come here to learn.
Who cares?
No, but I guess we can talk a little bit about what is the significance of the X-Men throughout the years. And you mentioned the Bryan Singer movies, which I think for a long time,
Were the only thing we had.
yeah,
And
kind of
ruined, they
defined.
kind of ruined X-Men for everyone.
Yeah, kind of defined. Okay, well, why would you say that, Link?
Those movies sucked.
Okay, like all of them?
Yes?
Oh, I like X2.
Mm.
Are we talking about the first class and stuff too?
No. Those are Matthew Vaughn.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So specifically the Bryan Singer
Okay.
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But
Specifically
I mean,
Bryan Singer? Then yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bryan-
X-Men
X2, I like
X2
X2.
is good.
Listen to me, Bryan Singer. How do you feel knowing that you ruined X-Men for everyone?
I think he has bigger
is he
things
the
to
one
worry
that's
about.
canceled?
Yeah, he's totally
That's what you
canceled.
That's what you get
Yeah.
for ruining X-Men. You
And
get
he
canceled.
did way
For
worse
ruining
things.
people.
Yeah.
And the X-Men.
That's true. Honestly, that is a really, that's a big crime. Like,
Ruining the X-Men and... Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The Fox X-Men version. Let's go back even further than that. Okay, what was your first exposure to X-Men?
X-Men, the animated series, baby.
toys.
Toys?
Toys.
Okay. Cards for me. I mean, I had X-Men the animated series for sure, but I remember learning so much more from like cards and I think toys too, because the toys used to have like the bios in the back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I used to watch the. No, even then, I think I watched the movies, or from what I can actually remember, because I'm sure like the animated series was on TV. But
Yeah.
what I can remember was the movies.
The first one's what, 99 or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
guess.
how old were you around that time?
3?
4.
4?
Oh, okay.
You.
So one of your like earliest X-Men experience has to have been like the OG movie eventually.
Yeah, because I
The
remember.
Bryan Singer one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
because I remember I would watch the. That's how I knew that the X-Men were yellow, was because of the animated series.
Right.
Yeah.
And the toys, and then like I just see like all black leather from the movies.
Yeah.
And the toys from the movies.
And we're talking toys, cartoons, video games. It's funny because the origin of these characters are in comic books, but at least when I was growing up, and I think for a lot of young people, the comic books aren't your first exposure to those. They're the core, right? They're what defines these characters, but not everyone has access to comic books, and it's a lot, and it's a frequent, you have to follow them chronologically, and it's a purchase every time. And I think that we learn a lot. I think now from the internet, this generation learns from the internet, but we had those like Marvel guidebooks that would tell you about everything, and you would kind of study it like history, and you knew about the iconic stories, and one day hopefully you'd be able to read them, at some point.
Yeah.
So it's funny that a lot of our perception of what the X-Men is by the media that you're surrounded with. And for me, X-Men 97, or rather X-Men 93, right?
The
The
animated
X-Men,
series.
the animated series from 1993 onwards, that series is what defined the X-Men to me. And I think I've said this ever since 97 came out to anybody who would listen to me. But what I believe the X-Men to be is I realize now because of this show, 97, that it's shaped by that original series. Whatever X-Men was in 93 to 96, to me, that's what X-Men is. And that's always what I judge, which is why when that Bryan Singer movie came out, I hated it. I hated that movie growing up.
Yeah, I went back.
agree.
I went back and watched them because I was just off like on the X-Men high off of
Yeah.
after watching the show. And
After dragging your feet and not watching it immediately like we instructed you to.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Day one, baby, day one. And I went back and I'm like, this movie I can see what they try to do, and I saw how influential the animated series was on the movies, but
Like what? The lineup?
yeah, but
Yeah.
just the fact that they missed the mark so bad on what the X-Men are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we're going to talk about in the episode, but the thing about 97 that I love is that it perfectly encapsulates who the X-Men are, but it also has something to say. It has a purpose, it has intent. I feel like with the old Bryan Singer movies, they were just like, we have this IP, we got to make a story out of it.
Yeah.
Let's get like for a weekend, let's see if we can write up a simple plot and then just run it. Let's get Hugh Jackman on board and we'll go from there.
I feel like fundamentally they didn't
An
know.
unknown Hugh Jackman.
That's true.
That's
At the
true.
time.
Because he's not
Yeah.
even buff in X-Men 1. He's
Well,
like
how
a normal
cra-
person.
Yeah. How crazy
He
it
didn't have
is.
access to steroids yet.
Yeah.
He has been playing that character for
Since
25 years now.
He looks better now than he did
Yeah, he does.
in the first movie.
What happens when you do musicals?
You know, it's also
I thought you were going to say something else. When
No,
you do.
it's also crazy that they had some good cast in that movie.
Is that the word casted?
They
The
had a
cast.
good cast.
Mm-hmm.
The cast.
The cast is awesome.
They just cast the cast.
Yeah, they threw fishing
Fishers of Men.
fishers of
And
X-Men.
women.
I do think
Fishers
Fishers
of
of X-Men.
X-Men.
Ah! What's
I like
One-
that. Yeah, so you have Ian McKellen as Magneto. You have
Which McKellen is an interesting choice, by the way, because he's also like 100 years old.
no, but you get McKellen and what's the guy's name? The bald
Patrick
guy.
Stewart.
Patrick Stewart,
yeah.
which are cut from the same cloth in the sense that at least classically trained actors,
Yeah, Shakespearean.
Shakespearean actors, and they kill it.
They
They,
really
to
do.
me, along with Hugh Jackman, are the best part of the movies.
Yeah, I'll give it to McKellen. He redefined Magneto.
Magneto, yeah. To me, Magneto was McKellen, and then he's also Gandalf. But
That's the thing. Like, he came off a crazy run right there.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
and they somehow found a way to ruin that franchise.
Well, I think Alan Cummings did really good as
As Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that who's the guy that plays Scott Summers again?
James Marsden.
Yeah, James Marsden. I think he grew into that role.
He was like, to me growing up, like he was Scott.
Yeah.
And even though they made him like,
They wrote him terribly.
yeah.
but like the biggest tragedy is 3.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
They just take him out in like 15 minutes.
Well, he had to be the boyfriend in Superman. What's the name of that movie again?
Returns?
Returns.
Begins?
I think it's Return. No, it's not.
No, is it
Man of Steel. No.
Returns?
It's
is
the Bryan Singer Superman.
Yeah.
movie.
Another thing he ruined.
All right, James Marsden. Maybe that's on you for following.
That's on
Bryan
you,
Singer.
bro. Watch out, you don't get canceled, James.
Yeah, but I think the studio. Anyways, what was the name of that movie?
I'll look it up.
Okay,
Superman Returns.
I don't think it's Returns, man.
Superman.
Superman
Continue.
wannabe 77. Anyways, so those two.
It is
actors-
Returns.
It is Returns.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
What?
because
That sounds wrong.
Yeah, because he comes back.
That sounds wrong. Okay, he returns from his planet. The to get a little off topic, but he flew away, was gone to go investigate Krypton, and it turns out that it's not there, and he flies back, and he just missed like a bunch of stuff. That's basically the plot of the movie. Okay, so anyways, so who else was good? Who else was good in those movies? Anyone else?
I personally like Frasier as
Okay.
Hank.
a beast.
Well, so do audiences apparently in the studio now. He's back.
I love him, but yeah, to me he's beast, and he's also Frasier.
Yeah. I think Halle Berry was good as Storm, too. She was terribly underwritten and did almost nothing, and they tried to
They
get
got
her
a-
something.
Yeah,
to
that's
do.
the thing.
They
I
got a
think
good actress for her.
They got good actors. I just think that they weren't written well.
Yeah,
Because the
the cast was casted amazingly.
You saw these movies recently.
What amazing.
I don't know about amazing. You saw these
Bro,
movies recently, right, Gabe?
McKellen and Stewart, what's his guy's name as well?
William Stryker's really good in X2. I think X2 is good. I think.
Which still is good.
Yeah.
All right, enough. What were you saying?
Yeah, enough about this. Well, I was gonna ask you. You saw these movies recently, right? Was Storm? Did she have an accent at first and then just didn't have it later?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a real Leia situation.
She worked on her accent. Proud of you, Storm.
It took her whole adult life, and then just like within
just 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And that's all it takes.
Okay. Anyways, enough about the Bryan Singer movies, which are terrible. I guess if we want to finish talking about the movies as a whole, you then have the Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn
trilogy.
trilogy.
He really only does.
Is it 1 or 2?
He doesn't do Days of Future Past.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll double check that, but I know he does First Class, which is, in my opinion,
the best X-Men movie.
I like Days of Future Past.
I like Days of Future Past. I think it's cooler. I don't think it's as narratively.
I think
tight.
it has a harder job.
I love.
Oh no, First Class is.
I love First Class.
But that's the thing. But also, I think that because First Class is so good, and then we got Age of Apocalypse or whatever the movie's called.
No, I think it's just Apocalypse.
X-Men
But
Apocalypse.
isn't that the third one?
Yeah.
No,
Or that's the second
no,
one?
it's the second one.
No, that's the third one.
No, I remember because Days of Future Past. Oh, maybe you're right.
No. I remember because Days of Future Past just built on what First Class was, and I was like, yes, this series can't get any better, and I was
then
right
they ruin it.
because Apocalypse was terrible, and then, man, Dark Phoenix. You guys probably haven't even seen Dark Phoenix, right?
I didn't even know there was a fourth one until right now.
I took my dad to watch Dark Phoenix.
And he fell asleep?
Because we had Movie Pass, right? Back in the day, before AMC A-List, right? So
wow.
I just had free tickets, right? So I was taking my dad, and I would take my dad to a movie every week.
Who directs it?
Singer directed Future Past.
What?
Days of Future Past.
That's crazy.
He came up with a story.
Nah,
with
man, that movie
Matthew
sucks,
Vaughn.
bro.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
That
you're
movie
right.
sucks.
First Class is the best movie. Anyways, I took my dad to watch.
Nah, because he balanced out because he also did Apocalypse.
Oh, okay. So
Take your dad.
I took my dad to watch a new movie like every week, and he was getting up there, and he wasn't very critical, so he just liked going to the movies. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like basically, he liked every movie that I took him to, and we went to see Dark Phoenix, and he was like, "What a waste of money." And I was like, "Oh, we didn't spend anything on the tickets, Dad. Don't worry about it." He was like, "No, what a waste of that must have been
resources.
$200 million, right? Like all that special effects, all those fancy actors, and I had to sit through that for 2 hours." I don't even know what that movie was about.
It was bad?
Yeah, it was bad.
I heard it was bad. I just never.
Nah, it was like, why did you even make this movie? And that was basically the goodbye, right, for the X-Men franchise at Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you count like New Mutants, which might be even worse.
I
Actually,
didn't even watch that.
Don't even bother. So that started with I guess it started with a bang.
All
but
right,
for me, it was a whimper, and it ended.
It's always interesting to me that they always know how to cast Magneto and Xavier well.
Yes,
because you have McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and then you have
James McAvoy
and Fassbender, and they also kill it, man.
Yeah, man.
And then in Future Past, the cool thing is that
They're
you see
both
both of
together.
them. That's honestly the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Have you guys seen the Rogue cut?
What is that?
There's an extended cut of the film that Anna Paquin's Rogue has a larger role. Like she comes.
They missed with that one. I'll tell you that much straight off the bat.
Yeah, Rogue. That was a big part of why I didn't like these movies. And we'll stop talking about these movies because we've already spent enough time.
Way more than
5
enough.
to 10 minutes is way too much. But Anna Paquin's Rogue, the way she was characterized and written and depicted in those movies is one of the big problems that I had. And my wife, my girlfriend at that time, friend and then just girlfriend growing up, she hated those movies because Rogue was her favorite character. Yeah. Rambit. Rogue and Gambit. Rambit was like the heart and soul of that show, at least in our eyes, growing up. And for them to do Rogue so poorly and to not really even tackle Gambit at all.
They don't.
Yeah.
We don't see him at all.
There's eventually a Gambit.
Wolverine Origins. I forgot the Wolverine movies that I was like, I feel like there's so much more X-Men stuff.
You know what? Maybe Logan might be the best X-Men movie I've seen.
Yeah, if we count Logan as a Wolverine movie.
Let's circle back to this at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about which one's favorites and worst.
Okay, that sounds good.
As far as I think this is a good way to get into the animated series because like how you were saying, your wife was a big fan of Rogue, and I think that's why going back, after watching 97, I watched the animated series again, went through that, and then I watched the X-Men movies.
And this was for your first time, right? You had not watched.
I had seen the animated series out of order.
like
it was
here
never
and
like
there,
a,
you don't
it was
know-
never a cohesive story.
You don't know
to
if
me.
you've seen them all, and
Yeah.
definitely not in chronological order.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I went back and I watched it. I'm like, wow, this was a 90s cartoon. Like,
It's
this
bold.
this
It's a
is
bold series.
fantastic. But that was one of the things was, I mean, we'll get into the characters, but specifically Rogue, like, she's so BA
Yes,
in the show. She's such a, like,
awesome.
a strong personality. And that's even, like, expounded upon more in 97.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that to me is the biggest tragedy. It's just like, they just missed the mark, man,
And-
on how powerful these characters are.
And how much those movies shaped the depiction of these characters throughout mediums,
Mm.
because Rogue started to be a little more like her in the random.
Yeah, in the comics.
In the comics,
Yeah.
and then the Ultimate Universe came, and she's definitely like a version of the movie.
Yeah.
They did
Like
X-Men.
an emo girl.
Yeah, they did X-Men Evolution, the series,
And
which
she was emo.
yeah, and again, and they even Wolverine and the X-Men. Rogue is young and also emo, so like that version of Rogue just is Rogue from that for like about 20 years. and-
Hopefully this, it changes again.
yeah, thanks to 97, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was one of the things that I think with the animated show going back, I realized, because I mean I didn't watch it as I
As
didn't
it
watch
happened.
I didn't watch it like how you guys experienced it. But one of the things that I was thinking about when I was watching this was like, man, this is a great cartoon show that it's like it has, adult themes that happen in everyday life, but put for children. It's easily put
Yeah.
for children. It's simple in terms of
Mm.
that. And that's what I love about 97. It kind of feels
Life,
like
death, faith, justice.
exactly. It kind of
equality.
feels like this was like it also tackles these mature themes, but it's also like it's not necessarily doesn't have to be a children's show. This is for the people that grew up with that show.
97,
It
yeah.
grew up with them.
93, yeah.
Hitting those topics that you're feeling now at the age that you're at now from like when you were kids at that age.
But it's BA enough for kids to engage with it, because even if you don't understand everything it's talking about, because one thing I really admire about is the language and the level of elevated language that's in it.
It doesn't treat you like a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it absolutely does not. And if you don't know what all of this means, you're just like, I want to, like,
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like kids nowadays, the end like that really is an excuse anymore. Like you can at the touch of your fingers, you can find out anything. You
Yeah.
can figure out anything. Like if things you don't understand. I mean, there was like what a word that we talked about during the show that was said.
Yeah, it was. So I had showed Fiddler on the Roof to my drama team, and they had talked about a pogrom, and which is like a very historically specific, like it's not a genocide, but it's more like an assault. Getting rid of specifically the Jews, especially in this period during the
Magneto uses that.
Yes, and we had just
An organized massacre for particular ethnic group,
yeah.
particular to the Jewish.
And particular to the Jewish, and it arises in that period, right? In like the turn of the century prior to World War I and II. And Magneto uses it, and I was like, what? It was like the same day. Like I had just, and even then when I saw it in the play, I was like, what does that mean again? And I had to look it up, and we talked about it in class, right? And then for it to then just bleed into my X-Men later that day, I was like, I love this show so much because you can just connect so much of it.
No, man. I mean, speaking about like, I mean, I think we should just get into it because with the characters and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
okay, go
I
right.
think, like I mean, almost everything was standout to me, but it's like Magneto to me is a huge.
He's like the best
he's
part
the
of the
show.
Yeah.
Like, he's the show to me, and the dynamic with Charles and Magneto. I think it's also really. I think that the show excels and is kind of lucky the fact that Charles isn't in it for half of the show.
Yeah.
And you get to see Magneto without that little angel
And
on his shoulder.
I thought he wasn't going to be in it,
yeah.
But halfway through, he returns.
I think that, with Magneto, it's like, obviously the, ¿cómo se llama? The diametrically opposed views of Charles and Magneto, I think, balance each other out, because if you're too much on one side, like sometimes like Charles does things and says things, then I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you're dumb. Like for being this smart, your name's Professor. Why are you stupid?
You're so idealistic.
I love that, by the way, that they really leaned into the professor aspect of it.
Oh, that was great.
When he starts to teach.
Yeah, the instructional
Classes now in
lesson.
session? Yeah, that
Yes,
was awesome.
So good. And they leaned into that too. And another thing they leaned into is they revisited Magneto's German Jew origins, right? And the violence that his family experienced. You mentioned to me going back and watching that original series that isn't present.
No, that did not like when they talk because when Charles, I think Jubilee asks who Magneto is, and then Charles explains it how he met him. They were doctors, helping some refugee camps, and then they end up being cornered, and they have to use their powers to escape.
Yeah,
and then they
with
talk
the cave, right?
Exactly,
I remember
and he
that.
talks about Magneto's like origin, and it's like it's not a disclosed place. It's the soldiers that they use in the flashback did not look anything like Nazis or anything like that. So I don't know if they just changed that because to me that's how I thought Magneto's a Holocaust survivor.
Which that opening scene from the Singer movie,
I thought that was it's probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
That's 3, right?
That's 1.
That's
and they go back in 3. They do it again in 3.
Yeah, they do it again. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like Magneto to me almost steals the show. I think.
Yeah.
How the character's written. I wasn't a fan of his costume. The
new one.
Yeah.
You know what? I think in hindsight,
it's not bad.
No,
I just don't like.
No, I think it is bad. I think he looks like a stripper.
I mean, that's kind of what
like
they're going for. No?
He has like a female wrestler.
I think they were.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to
costume.
like take away that Ian McKellen look, that old man look that you had on.
Now, my theory is that I think we weren't supposed to like the new costume, so that when he returns to the original,
We're like,
costume, we're like, yeah.
But I thought that was really interesting, like having him lead the X-Men in Charles's absence.
Yeah.
And I think that sets up a chain reaction for a bunch of characters this season, especially like Scott.
Gambit.
Having Gambit too with the romance with Rogue actually was I didn't expect that.
That was out of left field.
I didn't expect that at all.
I was kind of going for it. I'm like, oh.
I hear it does have its origins in the comics. Like, by no means have I followed the, I think 75-year history now of the X-Men, especially a lot of the modern stuff. But one thing that I did love about the Professor was I think this is one of the rare depictions of unconditional love. And if you follow the hero's journey, that's like a phase in it, right? And so often that love isn't unconditional, so to speak. When he left Magneto in charge, I thought, oh, he's got some awesome plan. No, he just loves Magneto with all his faults.
He's just blinded.
Yeah, he is blinded. And I disagree with the Professor, but I respect the fact that he loves this man like a brother so much that he's going to keep giving him chance after chance after chance.
But that's the thing. It's like he sets him up that it's like, okay, this is a task that it's like, you're going to have to be this way. And it's like, that's my idealistic view of you not using this for, your purposes, but for the greater good, which in turn, for the most part, he was trying. I'll give him that. He was trying.
And he made it pretty far.
Yeah. And
he had to experience like in another genocide.
And I mean, I loved that episode where, I love all the episodes, but the episode where they ambush the courtroom where he's having a trial.
Yes.
And then he takes everyone up and he's like, I'm taking up Charles's mission. I'm not trying to be your enemy. It's like, I'm not trying to like seek you for you to embrace us or to love us, but just for you to know that like we deserve to live as well.
Yeah.
And like to live in this shared world. And I think at that point I was just like,
I think is
I'm so like, that was incredible.
And the thesis there is tolerance, right? And the 3-part finale is called Tolerance is Extinction. But that's Bastion's thesis, right? That tolerating is just a pathway to losing, that there has to be a struggle. And I think Professor X's way is the opposite of that. And I think when Magneto walks away from that path, as Magneto is wont to do almost every single time we experience a story like this, that's when it becomes murky. Where does Magneto's mission versus Bastion's mission end? And how are they not, even though they're diametrically opposed, the methodology, I think, is still the same.
No, yeah. And I mean, I loved that episode title because at the end of the day, like, and that's the point where like, situationally, like Magneto is right on some counts, maybe not the way he goes about it, but at the end, like he knows humans better than they know themselves.
Yeah.
He knows that, yeah, they'll see the genocide like they did, or they'll see like stuff happen to the mutants and be like, oh my God, they'll feel bad for them. They'll feel pity. They'll feel pity, but it'll never, like, their people are always going to be pitied and never aided.
Yeah.
They will never be helped. They know that, oh, I feel bad for them, but it's like they're always gonna go back to how they are, to how humans are. And I think Magneto understands it, and that's why he's so upset, because it's like if you don't take action, change is never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think he goes to an extreme, and that's why I think Charles balance. I think together they balance out.
It's like, I know the parallel is always like Dr. King and Malcolm X, and and I think that's necessary. Two coins of that same movement, you know, both taking action and passive action as well. They're both forms of you know, civil disobedience, but you know, one of them is stronger than the other. But I think like you said, that balance in any movement needs to be present.
No, yeah, because, and that's the thing, I think that Charles levels him, Charles grounds him, because we see what happens when he's left to his own devices. Humans are going to prove him wrong, like with Trask and with all the Sentinel programs and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
Prove him right, sorry. And that's why and I think they really captured like his power. Like I didn't know he was like
that OP.
Man, I don't
that
even.
OP
I guess you know. I was also shocked. I was like, man, really?
EMP across the entire world?
I was like,
bro,
I guess
my
that
dude
makes
moves the whole Golden State Bridge.
I thought you weren't gonna reference back to the Bryan Singer movies.
That's the
that's the thing. I thought that was. That's comedy, you know, trauma. That's how,
yeah.
that's how he deals
That's
with
how
it.
I deal with it.
Also, that's not a Singer movie, right? That's 3.
That's 3. That's a Singer movie.
Yeah. So who directs that movie?
It's not him?
I think
No,
doesn't he
'cause
do all?
left to do Superman, right? That's why Scott's dead.
He left to be Jimmy? Is that what it is?
No, he's
not Jimmy?
He's Lois's boyfriend, who is not the father of the child.
Wait, so he is like James Gunn? He jumps ship?
Yeah, pretty much. But wait, are you drawing parallels between Bryan Singer and James Gunn? Is that what you're doing right now?
He was James Gunn before James Gunn was James Gunn.
Say that 3 times fast.
No, I think he directs that movie.
He doesn't.
Who is it?
I
I know he does because that's the reason Cyclops is in it. That's why they decimate the roster at the beginning.
Ratner.
Brett
Ratner,
Ratner.
yes.
Ratner.
We see you, Brett Ratner. We do not forgive you.
That's the thing. I mix them up a lot.
Yeah. Well, because they're. No, I was.
Anyways,
never mind.
Anyways,
Ratner and Burt Reynolds.
going back to, I guess we can move past.
I
Magneto.
would have preferred Burt Reynolds directing an X-Men movie.
Actually, going back to the same episode, like where they get ambushed at the courthouse,
Correct.
and we see Storm
Loser power?
basically is the victim of a hate crime,
Yeah.
and she loses her powers, and you know the story that the journey that she goes on.
What are the name of the hate group that attacked Storm? The
KKK.
Friends of Humanity?
FOH, because
Yeah.
I always think of F out of here every time I read their shirts, because that's the abbreviation. Anyways, so she loses her powers and she goes on that journey, which I feel like everyone had. I mean, I guess aside from Logan,
They had what?
I feel like because the old show focused on Logan so much,
Exactly. Like they took a break from Logan.
Yeah, they took-
Yes.
Yeah.
but also the last 20 years, all we had is like Logan,
Logan,
shoved down our
exactly.
throats.
He is the X-Men.
He's a one character
apparently.
you don't really need to like. Hey, I don't need to show you how badass this guy is.
But
Yeah.
they did.
because
They
you
showed us
you already
25
know.
years of that,
Yeah, exactly. It's like let's work on the other ones. Let's give character development to
Yeah.
the other
which
ones.
that was great, especially for Storm, because like you said, the Halle Berry, like she's not like she
Yeah.
did terrible, but like she wasn't written well. She
Nah.
didn't have much to do.
She's not. She's a woman that has storm powers, and that's about it.
Like she was Storm. I feel like in this show, it's more Aurora,
Yes, you get to know who she is as a character.
because I'll be
and
honest.
the original show does that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entire episodes are that center
her
around
in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you
And
know her
whoever
losing
she's falling in love with this season,
exactly
because that happens constantly, right?
all
That
the
is
time.
true.
Yeah.
But her losing her powers and kind of like her finding like losing her sense of identity,
And
I
falling
think
in
was
love.
a big and falling in love, and but that love that Ford shows her, I think, was a proper love too, because she falls in love very easily, but she finally finds someone that's like good for her,
Yeah.
and you know that's
Forge is awesome. I love.
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
teaches her to love her flaws as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
teaches her to love herself, because she was this person that was like
And
So-
teaches her to fight giant.
because I mean
Crow
every
or-
time
I am awesome.
Right.
Look, yeah.
every time that she fights, she's always like proclaiming herself like this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and like you could tell like she has a lot of confidence in herself.
I'm a god.
And when she loses that, when that's taken away from her, who is she?
She's nobody.
And you know what? And that's an interesting arc to put Storm through, because it's like you said, she does carry herself like she's a god, but like she's a mutant, just like everybody else. She just was raised in this culture that kind of venerated her,
yeah.
and I don't know. I guess that sticks with her, right? That she sees herself as.
But I mean, that's
sort of
real. That's real life. Like, depending on how you were raised, depending on how you come up, like
Yeah.
that, you're gonna have certain things about yourself that like that you have to figure out. That I feel like the show unpacks a lot of these things for these characters,
Yeah.
and that's the thing I love about this show. There's so many. They really go in depth with a lot of these episodes, and I mean, there's an episode that you like. I guess is the weakest one, the Jubilee one.
I disagree.
Like always.
That it's the weakest episode.
I disagree that it's the weakest episode.
What's the weakest episode?
I don't think there is a weakest episode. I stand for that
Nah,
episode
bro.
being because they
Listen.
combine the two things I hate the most.
No. I don't think
Jubilee
and
and
magic.
No, and is it Mojo? What's the guy's name?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean in X-Men in general?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a bad episode.
Oh, they're not bad. It's just like, oh,
But I'm
Trauma.
saying if you have to have a weakest episode, I think.
This is why I think that episode stands along the rest of them because
I mean, I have my thoughts on that too. But go
okay,
ahead.
when the Jubilee story was over, I was like, oh, this is the weakest episode. But half the episode was still left, and they introduce Lifeblood, which is the Forge. Oh wait, that's not what it's called. Life Death, which is the Forge and Storm story.
Yeah.
And then they leave you at a cliffhanger, and they don't come back to it for 2 weeks. So like, I was like, that was a good episode because they knew that their weakest arc needed something to anchor it and to propel it forward for the rest of the series. So I will stand by.
But even then, even with the Jubilee stuff and the video game, I feel like they still managed to have a lesson even in that video
I agree
game
because
episode.
I think it could have. I think it could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
When you do a virtual reality in Mojo World. Yeah.
Where it's like you have Jubilee who's wanting to escape, like she's wanting to escape, the pressures of whatever's going on around her outside, and like she goes into that video game, and then she realizes like Mojo puts her through her greatest hits, like revisiting the past and stuff like that, and then she realizes that nostalgia isn't something that's meant to be like lived in or like you know like to stay in it,
And I think that's a lesson for us. And I think that episode comes early in the season
exactly
to tell us, the audience, yo, chill, because we're gonna move forward.
No, exactly. But also, it's like they're bringing back that Mojo episode where it's like, this is what you think is gonna happen, but I'm gonna like shatter that expectation completely,
subvert, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and I look back at that episode, I'm like, I like it. I really enjoy it. Do I love all the episodes? I don't know if I love them all equally.
I don't think I love them all equally. I'm not saying it's as good as any other episode, but I think it's as good.
I think me using the term weak insinuates that it's some type of
bad.
negative thing.
Yeah,
it is not as strong.
No, I think
As the
that the
other
series is so good you don't even have to sort them all out. Just take it as a package deal.
All right, I'll give you that.
I love every
We don't-
minute
we
and
don't
every
have to-
moment, and I will accept all of it. Additionally, I think it's a nice character expansion for Sunspot, which was just recently introduced. Up until that point, we got to know him and his relationship with Jubilee, and that's what's important. It's pushing it forward. Like Umberto's going to be one of is that his name? I'm sorry, I think I just made up a random.
I think so.
Roberto, right? Thank you. Roberto's gonna be one of the new characters that we focus on moving forward this season. He gets some alone time with the audience, so I think that's important too.
I didn't even know much about Sunspot, to be honest, before that.
I only knew that. I know that he's Brazilian and that he's made out of sun energy, like,
Pão de queijo.
and that he makes a mean pão de queijo.
But I mean, also speaking about,
he had a cool toy and he also had a cool card that I collected. So.
As a person, I thought you meant like he had a cool toy in the show.
No, he has the Sunspot toy is cool.
So like the identity thing with Storm, I think they also did that, and I feel like they had a special connection with Jean and Aurora.
Yes,
and Storm.
I love it. Yes, that like sisterly bond, and I love that too. All the familial, and you can speak to how present that is in the original series. I don't remember it.
I mean, it's not like that, but it's there because there's literally an episode where Jean like dies.
Yeah,
because of the Phoenix, and they all give a piece of their life to save her.
That's right. So for me, it was like they were all a family, and this show reiterated those bonds. Like Rogue and Nightcrawler act like siblings, and I was like, yes, because they are, you know, and I don't know, man.
Even that, like going back to that, and them explaining that, because I'm like, what the heck, they're related?
Yeah, because remember in the Rogue Origin episode,
Well, I
she's
meant-
taken in.
I guess I meant more of like with the bad guy. That's also related. That's also their sibling.
That's right. That's also their
Creed?
sibling.
Creel?
Yeah.
Whatever his name is. Creed. I think it's Creed.
Yeah, the politician.
He's the leader of the F out of here.
Yes. What's his name?
It's Creed.
Oh yeah, it is Creed because he's Sabretooth's son.
Yeah, Sabretooth's son.
Sabretooth is Victor. He's Grayson Creed.
Yeah. And
which is going to be president apparently. And yeah. Well, at the end,
the elections. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
because
Kelly's on the out.
Kelly's gone, and then the radio plays that Creed's support is way up.
interesting.
It looks like he was going to be running for that presidency and possibly getting it.
But I really do love the familial aspect. I think that plays a major role, and I feel like that to me really separates this team from anything else.
Okay, let me ask you something. You went back, you watched the animated series, and then you watched the movies?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you start seeing like Creed and Trask and all these
Them like little,
random,
they're like because that's the thing. They have
random
characters
interpretations,
characters that are important to this story. They threw them in as Easter eggs.
yeah.
They're just like, oh, here. It's like not Trask. What's his name? Gyrick.
Yeah, Gyrick.
Henry Gyrick was like, he was. They
Blink and you
they
miss.
just mentioned his name, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, and then you have like Bolivar Trask here, and then they do the first class timeline. And it's like a completely different person. Yeah.
But anyways, the whole thing with Jean though, with Jean and what's her name?
Storm.
No,
Her twin.
Oh,
Her.
Madeline
Madeline
Pryor.
Madeline Pryor. That threw me for a loop,
'Cause,
man.
okay, that story I remember being so iconic growing up. And again, I didn't read it at the time. You just learn about it. And I think it's pre-internet. It had to be pre-internet, but definitely post-internet. You get a lot of the feedback that like, this was a bad story. This was terrible. Like, because we thought that for a long time, we thought that Cable was Gene and Scott's kid. And then it turns out that it was a clone. And then she gets her own name. Madeline Pryor, she's the Goblin Queen, right? And it's like a whole long extended thing, and they crammed it all into one episode, and it worked because it was like boom, boom, boom. This is the information. We're establishing it, and then we're moving forward. And for fans, I think it was like it works because it's canon. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And a lot of the stuff on the show was like that makes sense because why not? Because we've been here before.
The thing about the show is that it commits. It commits to every single thing that it does.
Yeah.
There is no half-assing it. There is no like, we're gonna throw this in there just cause. No, everything is intentional, and that's what I think that's why I think the show is so special.
Yeah.
I think DeMaio had a vision and something to say, and he executed. Like I feel like, I was reading up on it, and he went through a lot of things in his past. You know, who he is as a person, how he grew up, and some of the things he was saying was just like, wow. This is really profound, and I can see why you relate so heavily to the X-Men and why this project was. He put a lot of love into it. But he also put a lot of like his own. I feel like his own experiences into each. He sprinkled it into the show.
Yeah, but not in a way that's like super obvious. Not in a way where the artist transcends the.
Where it's like I'm bleeding into it. No, it's there are these characters. They have this is the universe. This is the world that they live in. They already have their stories. But I'm adding my
They're a reflection, not a projection, right?
Correct.
He's
Yeah.
not projecting.
I can't
himself
put it
onto
better than that.
Yeah.
But that's like with every single character aside from like Bishop,
Yeah, who he sidelines for.
which is fine.
Once again, poor Bishop.
Which is fine.
I had a Bishop that was like 1 foot tall. It was like one of my favorite. And I also had a Mr. Sinister that was.
Yeah.
I think I got them on a 2-for-1 at KB Toys. And I used to fall.
Toys.
And sometimes I used to wake up and there was just a foot tall Mr. Sinister staring at me.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, I remember that. That was my first introduction to that character because that thing freaked me out, man.
That was a creepy toy. I don't even know how I got away with having that toy.
Even with the title Sinister.
Yeah, it was just a good deal. That there's nothing that they appreciated more than a good deal.
That is true. I think my favorite episode is Remember It.
Okay, which is
5?
I don't remember it.
Yeah,
Could
me
you-
neither. You gotta tell me what happened. Do you not remember it?
Yeah.
I'm done. Get me out of here. Nah, man. When they go to Genosha,
It could be worse. You could be doing this with Bryan Singer.
and Brett Ratner.
how would you get me into that room? I really would like to know.
We tell you that we're just recording a new episode this week,
Yeah, and then
and
we
you
push
watch
And
you.
it.
it's just
we
Bryan
push
Singer,
you-
Brett Ratner.
we push you and lock
They're
the
going
door.
George, and then you just hear Bryan Singer and Link.
I'd pay for that. And they just start making out immediately. Anyways, continue.
No, remember it, man. When they go to Genosha and that episode, it starts off with like, you know, everything's great. You know, life is good. Mutants are free. They get to exist on this planet.
The
It's
Watcher
beautiful.
is watching.
It's heaven, bro. Like, it's mutant heaven out there. And they do such a, like, with the music and the atmosphere and the environment and like characters from the animated show. The what are these people
the
called?
Morlocks.
The Morlocks.
Yeah.
And you know, seeing Leech, which also Leech in Last Stand.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of characters in The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Psylocke. Yeah.
Anyways, just seeing all that, like, it's basically like a mutant utopia. And
I was happy for them. I was like,
wow,
that was great. I was like, man, this is a good episode.
You really
man.
don't see this.
yeah.
Yeah, and
This
so
can't possibly go wrong.
Right?
and Nightcrawler comes back in, and it's like, oh man, we're getting to see everyone.
How cool is Nightcrawler
Oh
on
my
the
goodness,
show?
Nightcrawler
The
is
villains,
awesome.
the villains that we see from the animated series are like, you know, what are their names, man? Help me out here.
Magneto.
They were that team.
Oh, the Brotherhood?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's her name?
We don't call them the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants because that is propaganda, okay? They're just the Brotherhood of Mutants. Regular, everyday mutants.
I forget
okay?
their names, man.
Who are you talking about?
The chick that turns into diamond.
Oh, White Queen.
Frost.
That's Emma
Frost.
Frost, and her group is the Hellfire Club.
The Frosties.
That's
Okay,
where
yes.
That's where that group from Stranger
First-
Things gets their name from.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, the Hellfire Club. Remember in First Class, it's Kevin Bacon, and
Yep.
Sebastian
Shaw.
and
Sebastian Shaw. That's his name.
yeah.
So all of them. And
yeah,
then
they're on the council. That's so
and
cool.
then they have Madeline Pryor as well, and they have like Magneto and stuff like that, and then they have that whole, you know, that celebration, that party, and
That
Magneto,
ballroom.
and then
they
Magneto.
were dancing, they were drinking, they were making love.
Yeah, and Magneto has
My
like,
X-Men.
Rogue was a princess.
yeah, and Magneto puts that question to Rogue where it's like, "Be my queen," and like that was another thing, was just like getting into Rogue's, you know, tragedy, basically her life, where it's like she has so much, you know, love, and she can't like touch anyone. It's like kind of like a repressed love,
But she can touch him.
where she has so much like expression for everything else because she cannot physically touch people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, technically, we can't physically touch each other because Oppenheimer taught me that it's just the molecules in between us.
Okay, so there's just very small space right here.
Yeah, that which is weird because
That's what Magneto does.
I saw Oppenheimer again and I was like, oh, that makes sense. The Magneto Rogue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Magneto, and so like that relationship, and then she basically chooses Magneto, and then,
that W.
Which is crazy, man. That's
which is wild, but then she gets into that point where they're dancing and they share the kiss, and then she realizes, she's just like, no, some things are, what does she say? Some things are deeper
I don't
than,
remember
some
it.
things are deeper than skin or something like that.
Sure, that sounds good. Doesn't sound right, but it sounds good.
That's what she said.
Some things are deeper than skin. Anyways,
I won't even follow
and she
up
goes
with
to choose
the comment.
Remy, and then
He dies.
all hell breaks loose.
Whoa, spoilers. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen
Oh, yeah,
X-Men
spoilers.
97, yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Remy, the rat from Ratatouille's in it,
Rewind.
and he falls in love. And Rogue falls in love with him.
Rewind 45 minutes and then just watch X-Men 97.
That episode was beautiful, man.
Yeah, it was. And let's talk about that death, because that's the big moment of the halfway point.
And that's the part when you actually like, because Gambit is one of those characters that is awesome, right? It's specifically
Wolverine.
from, he's like a Wolverine,
yeah.
right? And the fact that we don't get him in live action movies,
Well, he was in Wolverine Origins. I mean,
Yes.
X-Men Origins
Yes.
Wolverine. Taylor Kitsch played him.
the fact that you didn't really get to, you only see him in the movies. I mean, in the show.
Yeah.
And in the show, he's awesome. He's great. You
Yeah.
get me? To me, he's the second best.
I
My
agree.
second favorite.
Yeah,
besides,
like I said,
behind-
Rambit is
Yeah.
like one of the most
Like,
iconic.
Yeah. So the fact that you get him back and you're like, oh my goodness, he's awesome. He's still awesome. And then you lose him when he's at his high point.
Because it was like if a best friend came
Yeah.
back into your life. It's like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
Remember how much you loved me?
Yeah, that
And then
happened.
he died.
Yeah, I can understand.
And then in the context of the story is that Rogue makes the choice on her own. She has the person that she can actually connect, like touch and connect with, and
She
she
connect physically.
and she decides
some things go beyond the physical.
And she makes a choice, and
Bam.
right as she can be happy and be with her love, choice gets taken from her.
Yeah, and she doesn't get a backup plan either because they kill Magneto too.
That's true. Right. It's like, well, there goes that.
Well,
Maybe you're not destined for love.
But also, like, how should that?
the real Black Widow.
The influence. So, like, the influences that these traumatic experiences leave on these people, and how they affect them. Like with Rogue making the decision to just drop Trask out of a building so that he dies.
It's earned, right? Because it makes sense.
Everything about this show is earned.
Yeah. When she turns later and joins Magneto, her sunspot.
I was like, you're stupid, and then I was like, no, doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It's her sunspot and who else?
that's about.
That's
That's
her
it, right?
sunspot.
That's it, right? Yeah. Link.
I'm kind of hungry, man.
What were the high points of the series for you?
Were the high points for the movie for me?
The show.
movie.
The show. I'm sorry. Honestly, Gabriel whispered Cyclops, and the fact that because even in the animated show, in '93, I hated Cyclops. I'm like, this guy's so annoying. He's like the opposite of Wolverine. He's always trying to ruin Wolverine's plans. Let Wolverine be awesome. Why are you such a party pooper, Cyclops? But here,
Yeah, that love triangle.
Well, maybe
really
because
did-
Wolverine's trying to sleep with his wife.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's just give him up. Give up Jean the Wolverine.
Well,
Cyclops.
Wolverine got his own gene.
That is true.
In the movies.
In the show,
Oh.
he has two now.
Oh.
He has his own gene.
Okay.
But this was the first time where I actually liked Cyclops. I was like, oh
I love Cyclops.
my goodness.
And I remember how the whole time the
Justice
show
for
was
Cyclops.
on, I was just like, bro, Cyclops. Like we were just going back and forth on how thank God.
Now it wasn't until the end for me that I liked Cyclops.
You know what? Too. You know what? I think that you're right. As a child, it's difficult to identify with Cyclops because you're like, just be cool.
Yeah.
I always thought.
Why are you
Cyclops
such a
was cool.
why are you such a Boy Scout?
But this is what I'm saying. Now in this show, Cyclops still exhibits his whole indecision and am I doing the right
Nah,
thing?
man, you
and I'm like,
see it.
that's me.
You
I'm like,
see it.
I'm
You
like,
see it.
yeah,
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes freaking sense because he gets mad about his dad leaving him and stuff like that, and then the professor leaving the X-Men to Magneto. But then it's like you're an adult, bro, and then when he has to leave Cable, when he has to send Cable off to the future to be saved, and he sees the decision, and he's like, "Oh, this makes sense now." And that conversation that he has in the diner at the end with Cable,
Yeah.
when they're about to leave,
Beautiful.
that was one of my favorite parts of the show too, man.
Yeah, man.
Just that conversation. Oh my god, it almost made me cry, dude. That crap was.
And I think it's ironically, if you look at the lens of Cyclops' decisions and his shortcomings
I see what you did there.
through reality,
It explodes.
no, it's ironically very human. Here's this superpowered being who is actually really powerful. And I think that gets slept on a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. But his shortcomings are based on his fears and his trauma of being abandoned.
The things that he's gone through.
And
He doesn't want to repeat the cycle of abandonment.
that's right. And yet he finds himself doing it
Yeah, you try so hard,
Yeah.
but you have those situations where that happens to you anyways.
Mm.
because it's not wrong for him to send him to the future,
No.
but it is wrong for him to walk away. And he makes that choice, and then he lives to regret that choice. He wishes there could have been another way, and I don't know. It's just a beautifully written show, man.
I mean, it's from
peak
the
X-Men.
from the start, man, from start to finish.
Yeah.
He just has, that arc, and I mean, even the dilemma with him and how he loves two women.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Jean and Madeline, and I'm like, a cartoon? We're
Yeah.
doing this in a cartoon?
Not since Homer Simpson was tempted to have an affair,
Yeah.
and then I was not allowed to watch The
It's-
Simpsons anymore.
It's just
It was
it's
because
you,
of that?
You're
Yeah.
giving these superpowered human beings the decisions that people every day go
Yeah. You humanize them.
Yeah.
go through in life.
Have I never shared that story about The Simpsons? So my curfew was 8:00 growing up, but I was able to stay up late on Sunday to watch The Simpsons.
Because it's cartoon?
Yeah, because it's cartoons. And that happened for years until one day it was the episode where
Is it with is it with his coworkers or when he owns
with his coworker.
or when he's the producer of the country music?
I think that's further advanced.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not.
Man,
that young.
that was a moral dilemma he had.
Yeah,
there.
so I saw it in prime time, and my dad would just happen to be there. He's like, "What? This is the show that we let you stay up to watch?" And that was the last time I was officially allowed.
You know what's funny?
to
My
stay
mom
up.
never let me watch. My mom did not like the show because one day I was watching it, and Barney burped, and that's a hill she died on. Like Barney burping.
You don't think it was because he was at a bar drinking?
Nope, she did it because she wasn't even paying attention. She just heard the burp.
And she's like, "What did she say?"
She's like, "Oh, this show's bad for you, teaching you bad things."
But how did she say it in Spanish?
She would, I don't remember, but she would actually like mimic the burp. Eso muñequito siempre hacen.
Make your mom
Eruptan.
Make your mom watch X-Men 97.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's lucky she didn't notice what was going on in X-Men. Okay, as the show was coming, and we're kind of like going backwards a little bit, but did you expect the show to be as good as it ended up being?
No.
I didn't.
I didn't know what to expect, but it's not like the thing is I was like, "Oh, that's really cool" when I heard the news, but it's like I don't feel like I had that, that tether to like a strong tether to the animated series. I saw the episodes, but I didn't watch the show as a whole. Like it's not something that's like a pivotal moment in my
It's
childhood.
not Batman the animated
Exactly.
series, right?
But I was like, "Oh, this is dope." Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined it to be one of the most. That's probably the single best Marvel project
Yeah,
in the past 10 years.
yeah. And I had
MCU. I'll say MCU.
I had nostalgia glasses on because it's been a really long time since I've revisited the series. So I was like, in my mind, growing up, it was Batman the animated series before Batman the animated series. But am I wrong? I have that doubt. Like, was it just because I was a kid and I hadn't revisited like in my recent adulthood? With that, I was afraid they were going to ruin it.
You watched it when you were, I'm going to say late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, I think college
Because
age.
that's when I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it because I remember it was on when I was younger.
Well, that's what my wife, your sister,
exactly.
told me. She was like, "We saw it recently," and I was like, "That was 20 years ago."
Oh, okay. I guess so. But yeah, because I watched it with you guys because I remember when I was younger, when I was 2 or 3,
That was in the early 2000s.
I would watch it, and I remember I would call Wolverine X-Men. Look at X-Men.
He's X-Men,
He's
like plural?
Yeah,
X-Man.
X-Men.
X-Man is Cable.
So then I watched it with you guys, and I'm like, bro, this show's awesome.
Too, bro.
In Age of Apocalypse, that's Cable's hero name. He's X-Man.
That show was awesome. I loved it. And what I love about the show is that the pacing is still as chaotic and messy and as unpredictable as the original series.
Yeah.
Because I was watching this, I'm like, bro, where is this going? I don't know what's going on. Why you introduce so many new things to me, one after another, and then I started to realize, wait, that's how the show was. That's how the X-Men 93
Yeah.
was.
It's like focused chaos.
Yeah, focused
Yeah.
chaos. That's the best
Yeah.
way to describe it. It's messy. It's beautiful.
It was
And I can see, like, if you've never seen,
There's life.
Yeah.
and if you've never seen X-Men, the animated series, it could be a bit of a, like, it could be hard to get through that because you're not used to the pacing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the animation from the original series can be a challenge to overcome nowadays?
No.
No,
Like the old show?
Yeah.
Nah, just look at Rogue.
Except the last season.
Except for the last season, because it's really bad.
Just look at Rogue. You good, bro?
Yeah, the last season has Rogue like without gloves touching Gambit's face, like just.
So it's like with my niece, right? We wanted to introduce her to X-Men, but the original series was really old. And again, I had that in the back of my head. It's really old. I don't know. Is it as good? So we watched some of Evolution. We watched Wolverine and the X-Men.
X-Men Evolution?
No, X-Men Evolution season 1 is not good, but it turns into a really good series.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't like it.
Were they still in high school?
Were they? I don't remember. I was in elementary.
Yeah, where Mystique is the principal and like
Yes.
yeah, that's season 1. They abandoned that like in season 2. Like they fade away and then it's completely gone.
Nah, I'm not a fan of
subsequent
X-Men. I'm not a fan of
You're not a fan of X-Men. Get off
You're
the
not a
episode.
fan-
I'm
Throw
not
him
a-
out.
I'm not a fan of Ultimate X-Men, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah, that is what it felt like. And that's what it was. It was trying to
To
mainstream.
mainstream, yeah. No.
Ultimate X-Men. But Wolverine and the X-Men is a really
Yeah,
great
great.
series.
Yeah, that show's
Right.
fantastic.
And you
2
really like
seasons.
that. Right. But when X-Men 97 came out, she ended up watching it with her dad, your brother, and she was like, "Oh, this is way better. Like this is way better." And
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, maybe we need to go back and watch that original
Man,
series.
I'm so happy they made this show because not since the original show have the X-Men been cool.
Yeah,
Because
agree.
I started the show talking about Bryan Singer ruining X-Men, and I honestly do think they kind of did that.
Yeah, Fox Studios.
Yeah,
for
Fox
sure.
Studios, yeah. Like to the point where I remember when I was younger, to me, the X-Men were the best team in Marvel. Like there was only one character that was better than the X-Men, and that was Spider-Man.
I always thought so. Yeah, that's true.
And
that's the hierarchy.
and then
of
the Avengers
Yeah,
came.
Marvel
and,
versus Capcom, any X-Men.
yeah,
it was the best.
Yeah, and then the Avengers. We got the Avenger movies, the MCU, and you're like, oh, you completely forget about the X-Men, and you think, wow, the Avengers are great. And rewatching this, I was reminded, heck no, bro, the X-Men are better than the Avengers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no.
The only thing that the Avengers have is freaking Spider-Man.
The Avengers don't even have Spider-Man.
And half the
Most
time
of
you
the
don't
time.
even have them.
That's like a really modern
Nah,
idea.
bro.
Yeah,
the Avengers
but-
the Avengers of the MCU.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, bro, if you give the X-Men something like this, imagine what they could do. If you give them a series like a movie
The
franchise,
treatment. If you
yeah,
give them that,
there we go,
that
the
first
same
10-year MCU treatment, the faces.
yeah, you might have to shorten it because you probably won't get everyone to be
I don't need another like Endgame level event though.
No,
Like,
but
I
just
agree.
give them a treatment where you actually emphasize.
So you don't need the next Avengers movie to have over 60 characters return?
that might sound like a joke,
but it's true.
but it's rumored.
I mean, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be like a pop fest.
I'm not gonna say I'm not excited, but I also like why.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to enjoy it, but I'm not excited. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not excited about
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't get me hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to go watch
It's a
whatever
cash
movie.
grab.
But also, I'll be honest.
How desperate
It
are
could be
they?
cool.
I will be honest. I don't care about any other project. Fantastic Four, yeah. Whatever it is, I want season 2 of 97, and I want
The next
the
movie.
X-Men to be introduced.
Yeah, that's all I'm waiting for.
That's
the
all I
X-Men
care
to be
about.
introduced
Every
into the
single,
MCU.
like every other project, Marvel,
I mean, we're gonna get this though, right? We're gonna see this.
it's too far.
No,
What do you mean?
No, I'm asking with Deadpool. Don't you think that's like their foot in?
Okay, so let's talk about the MCU implications then. Where are the X-Men now in the Marvel Universe? We introduced Beast in the Marvels. Most of you probably didn't see that.
I just saw that recently for the first time.
Salad and scrambled eggs.
Wolverine's coming back. I think that...
Quick thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, how cool is Beast in the show?
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
In this show and the
Beast
old
is
show.
always awesome.
I love Beast.
Beast is always awesome.
Just randomly...
When Beast gets arrested and like his like dilemma, like where he can break out at any point he wants, but he's like, no, I have to do this by the book. I have to do this the right way to show them that
Yeah.
I can't. Bro, what?
Nah, bro. When that girl's flirting with him and he just puts her in her spot.
The reporter?
Yeah,
And then she turned into an evil robot?
yeah.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew.
she
Remember
would
with
be.
Beast?
Well, because Beast has had his fair share with troubles with that
Heartbreak.
other girl.
With heartbreak.
For me, it's just randomly
quotes. I love the
quoting
quotes.
Aristotle, Dostoevsky, Shakespeare.
It's
like,
beautiful.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then-
think Frasier does such a great job.
That's not Frasier.
I should have been.
What?
I don't think that's
It
Frasier.
should have been Frasier.
In the X-Men movies?
In the X-Men 97.
Yeah.
No, in the X-Men movies.
Oh, were we not talking about
no,
X-Men
I
97?
went, and that's why I feel
Oh.
like I'm also giving him credit in the movies
he
to do that.
I think what's his name?
Kelsey Grammer?
Kelsey Grammer. There you go. She'd always play.
Should Patrick Stewart also play Professor X in the animated
Oh yeah,
I
bro.
agree.
¿Qué? I can't say
mostly
that
because I love
What the
Sideshow
hell?
Bob.
word. What the hell was that, bro?
What?
With freaking Doctor Strange, bro.
Oh, the cameo?
Oh my god.
Oh, you talking about his appearance in the movie?
all of their appearances in that movie, bro.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what was going on there. And I'm afraid that they're building anticipation for Deadpool and Wolverine in the same level that we were anticipating all the cameos.
I don't have.
In Multiverse of
I'm
Madness.
excited for the movie, but it's like I remember what I was like
Just lower
before.
your expectations.
I remember what I was like before Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
thinking that Tom Cruise was gonna show up, and everyone's gonna, and I'm just like,
Just lower your expectations.
ever since then, I see leaks, like not leaks, but I see things that are
Rumors.
rumored. People either send them or I see them on Twitter, and I'm like, okay.
Okay. But for sure, Daphne Keene's going to be X-23 as a full-blown
What?
adult.
She's
right?
not in it.
She says she's not in
She
it,
says
but
she's
George
not.
has a theory that she is. That
She's
she's
gonna-
like, that's
she's in
exactly
it.
that's exactly what she
Go
would
into
say.
the movie expecting 100% for her to be in it, okay? Raise that expectation.
But also, I think she needs to be in something else other than the Acolyte because she needs to
My expectations are pretty high
refresh the palette.
because I feel like I'm gonna get what I've always wanted.
Cassandra Nova,
No,
Professor X's twin.
Danny
sister.
DeVito as Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Also-
gonna happen.
And I feel like this is the only movie where I can get
I don't
something
think that's gonna
similar
happen.
to
I think you're
that.
gonna get Daniel Radcliffe.
Bro, I think that's
You're gonna
suit is
get. I know I'm
fire.
gonna get that.
or
but
Henry Cavill.
Why? Because people want it to be?
Yeah,
Is that why? People say the Daniel Radcliffe thing, and I'm like, I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't know, but I want Danny DeVito as Wolverine.
I'll
If,
see
if,
I'll
if
see
Hugh
DeVito.
Jackman
I'll see
retires,
DeVito.
I want DeVito as Wolverine.
I can
As-
see DeVito
All your
before Radcliffe.
DeVito like fan casting aside, when I was a kid, I thought that. Do you guys know the character Puck from Alpha Flight?
No.
No. Oh, he's like a little guy. Alpha Flight's in one of the cameos. Actually, we didn't discuss the cameos.
Oh yeah, we got to do that
Yeah, but
because it answers a question from Spider-Man.
I thought Danny DeVito was gonna be Puck one day from Alpha Flight, but I guess that's kind of
I thought Danny DeVito was gonna be Detective Pikachu.
that would have been good too.
That would have been better than.
Yeah, give Danny DeVito more work, please.
Please, before he dies.
Yeah.
Didn't
Oh.
you see him at the Oscars? He was amazing.
Oh, that's probably the best
Best
Oscar
part-
bit I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Yeah. Okay, the cameos. You said it answers a question about Spider-Man, Link?
Yeah,
What?
because
What?
Spider-Man, the animated series, ends with him and Madam Web looking for Mary Jane,
So he found her.
and he in the
That's the
cameo
next one I
he's
gotta
there
watch.
in the cameo she's in '97, which
Yeah.
takes place in the future.
Uh-huh.
He finds her.
Yeah, because she's there. too.
Also, we get Daredevil.
We
Yeah.
get Daredevil.
We get Cloak and Dagger.
You get-
For me, that's a deep cut. It reminded me that I never finished that show.
We went back to what's his name? Red something.
Omega Red.
Omega Red.
yeah.
The Silver Samurai. Alpha Flight with Psylocke. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
I don't. By the way, did that make sense according to the original show? Was that random? I don't understand. Gabe, no, you got nothing.
Psylocke was doing her own thing. That's the
Doing their own thing, right?
Yeah.
But they're together, right? That's got to mean something.
Season 2 will explain.
And we talked about all the X-Men cameos in Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange's cameo in this one,
oh yeah,
and Forge's magic is like the exact same kind.
Iron Man, Cap.
Yeah, that's throwbacks to the original show too.
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, I was even thinking, Rogue can take Captain America.
Yeah.
I think so.
After watching this show,
Yeah, mate,
after
that's what I'm
watching
saying.
the
The
show,
movie's nerfed her, bro.
after watching this show, I am convinced that every X-Men is better than any Avengers, with the exception of Spider-Man.
Every X-Men, so like Jubilee is better than
yeah.
friggin'
Did you see what Jubilee was doing?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, Link was like, "What can Jubilee do? What can I was like, "Wait till the
And I
finale."
was like, just wait for a second.
Wait till the finale.
Look.
Yeah.
and what is it that she does?
She blows Bastion's face
With
Off and
with
turns
the
into the
fireworks.
Terminator.
This is just stupid power. I hate this power.
It's a good power, man.
fireworks.
Oh, wait till you see Dazzler, which will not be Taylor Swift, right? In Wolverine and the X-Men.
Never heard of that.
I mean, you never heard that rumor that Taylor
No.
Swift would be Dazzler in Deadpool and Wolverine? It would have made $1 bajillion.
It
but
would.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but apparently it's not happening.
Aw.
So I hope that's misdirection.
There
too.
was something else that we were talking about right before this.
Other implications for the MCU?
Is it the
or
other
the
shows?
cameos?
The cameos? Is it the cameos?
Yeah.
We
Maybe.
enjoyed the
Oh,
cameos.
bro, the thunderclap she does?
Oh yeah, I didn't even know she could do that.
Bro.
Who? Rogue?
Rogue. Yeah.
Hulk is
Yeah.
a thief.
Also, there's rumors about rebooting Spider-Man.
I heard that too.
The show?
Yeah.
With the success of this, I can see them trying to reboot many
Yeah.
shows.
It's just you got to be careful.
It's hard.
because
It's hard.
You
There's
kinda-
clearly a passionate team here that
Yeah.
knows the source.
There's- yeah,
material.
there's- have someone
Don't
that
make-
is
as,
like-
as long as it's not a cash grab.
Yeah. Plus the original.
Plus, he's already in Across the Spider-Verse.
and in Invincible.
Oh,
That was
he's
the
not
other
in
one.
it, is he?
That was the other one. No, I don't. No, the '90s Spider-Man.
He's
is
gonna be
not-
the next one.
Yeah.
I heard he's gonna be the next one.
Yeah, I heard
he's gonna be a
next one.
big thing in the next one.
Hopefully. Anyways, X-Men at the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine. We're all looking
We're
forward
all
to that.
looking forward to that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
You even have 2 showings and never told us.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
me. Maybe not him.
No, I didn't tell him either.
No,
I
you
just
told
booked-
me.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do
I'm-
I have that?
I don't know.
Did you get me a ticket?
Now I don't. Now I can't book another movie, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But you can't go to that earlier showing, right?
I don't know, depending on what I have. I mean, I have a class that day, but
Okay, because I might just go to both if it's as good as it's supposed to be. Anyways, long story short, we're going we're going to Deadpool Wolverine. We're looking forward to that. Any other implications that the MCU has?
No, but
I
I
mean,
do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I want to see how the X-Men are going to be used in.
In Twisters.
You got me Twisters. I can make you celebrity overnight. Okay.
That's for the Gen Zers, I guess.
I want to see how they were meant to, because they introduce what's his name, Beast in the Marvels.
Yes.
So
I guess you're going to use the Fox X-Men?
yeah, I was like, what's going on there? Which X-Men are we getting? For sure, Hugh Jackman. You get me? Is this his last time being Wolverine? We thought he retired, but he's coming back.
I think they're gonna get him again.
I mean, the guy's committed. And that's all you need.
I think the dream of the fandom is to get Toby and Hugh Jackman in an Avengers movie, and I think Disney's desperate enough to do it. No?
That had Jackman. I thought Jackman came back just because of Reynolds.
Yeah,
I think so, but if they pay him to show up at an Avengers movie, it's gonna happen.
I mean, the guy's just passionate about the character,
Yeah.
so that's why I can see him coming back.
Plus, his wife told him that if he played Wolverine again, she would divorce him. So that's
And they
taken
got
care
divorced.
of. Yeah, that's taken care of. That's why
Oh.
he accepted it.
Mm.
I don't know if you heard that story.
I don't know if
He's
that's
getting divorced.
No, if you heard the story of why she said that she would divorce him.
because he was too strong.
If he went back to Logan, if he
Yeah.
went back to being
He
Logan,
went back to being Logan.
so
He
he
was-
chose us over his
no,
wife.
they got divorced anyway, so now he chose us.
Oh, that's why he said Logan. That's why, bro. Who's this woman?
Well,
A nobody.
okay, I'm sure she's a great person.
Now
Isn't
she's
she
a
like
nobody.
isn't she like a viejita or something?
No, she's in the industry, I think.
Like
No.
a costume designer.
Yeah,
I don't
something
know.
like that. But anyways,
But she's like 70, isn't she?
the long story short, I don't know. You can look that up. But the long story, I keep saying that, is that he is increasingly irritable whenever he's playing Wolverine because he's not allowed to eat anything. So she was like, "I can't stand you when you're Wolverine."
You are the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 68.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she's older than him.
yeah. So I guess
I mean,
in
no
the-
judgment.
Yeah.
No,
No,
we're talking about X-Men, you know.
In the actually,
Equality.
he's older than her because he's like 200. He fought in the Civil War, and World War One. World
Talk
War
about what a
II.
crap, bro. F the Fox movies, dog. Like, I don't even want to talk about them anymore. Why are the X-Men?
James Howlett?
Why are the X-Men so great?
Why the X-Men so great?
We're gonna finish off on that.
Wait,
That's the
really
one.
quick, really quick.
Yeah.
I like that question.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to that. Remind me, why does he die in Logan? How does he die? How can he die?
He's getting older and his healing is slowing down and the
Yeah.
wear and tear on his body.
His
Ah.
healing factor is not eternal. He has an elongated lifespan, but it isn't forever.
I don't like that. Okay.
That's what
He's
you
still-
got. That's what you got, bro.
Well, this Logan won't undo the events of Logan, is what I hear. I don't know if he's going to be from another timeline.
that's
or
not him. No,
or
it's a
he's
different
gonna-
one.
I mean, he's not wearing the same
I mean,
suit.
that's not confirmed, but there's no shot at him.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
Or maybe he actually
they
no,
are
no, no,
gonna-
no. It is confirmed. He did say that. He said it's not the one from.
But they are going to address Logan, or they're just going to ignore it.
How'd you address?
Well, because
That's like a joke?
I feel like saying it doesn't contradict Logan means you kind of have to acknowledge. Maybe they'll see that there is a
Nah.
world where Logan died. I don't know. We'll see. But your original question, this is how we're going to end this extra long, giant-sized episode.
Oh no, we went over an hour.
No, we were supposed to because it's
I
called
know-
the giant.
I know it was gonna. It's X-Men.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
97.
We titled it the giant-sized episode.
It should be 97 minutes long.
Should
Oh,
be to
cut it down.
me my X-Men.
97 minutes. That means we have to go another like 20.
Yeah.
To me my McGuffins.
Nah, I think.
That should be the episode's name. To me, my McGuffins.
Put that in the
Fudge,
episode
that's
description.
good, Gabriel. You're on a roll. You said two things that were really good. What was the first one? Or was it I that said the
That was
first
that-
one?
That
You said
Brian
that.
Singer movies were good.
No, you said
Oh, that's
What
right.
was but what was the?
What did you say?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
did
know.
we scissors the first time?
You want to talk about that out loud?
Is it's only skin deep?
No, you said something that.
Yeah, I know.
Something-
I'll remember it in a second.
Okay.
Continue.
So your big question was, what makes the X-Men so awesome?
Mm-hmm.
Rejection from society is what made the X-Men, and we're all rejects.
That's pretty good.
That's me quoting Tina Fey. Liz Lemon.
Yo. For me, it's just the universality of their stories. No matter who you are, there's an X-Men for you.
Mm.
You know, there's something to relate to. Whatever it is that makes you an outsider, like you said, whatever it is, anytime you felt rejected or you felt like you didn't belong, the X-Men stories are there for you.
That's so true.
And something as extraordinarily unbelievable like the X-Men is probably one of the most realistic forms of fiction that we have.
I can see that. Now, the X-Men I relate to the most as a short person is Wolverine. Because all these other superheroes are 6 feet plus, right? So there's no representation for a short king like me.
There's Puck. Read Alpha Flight.
Who cares?
Okay.
Right? But we got Wolverine. Us short kings got Wolverine, okay? And that's all we need.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman's got to be like, Hugh
Jackman's
Jackman's
I'm talking about the
6'2",
anime.
bro.
I'm talking about
6'2",
I am
bro.
talking about the show.
This is a roided up
I'm
Chris
talking about the
Hemsworth
show.
out here. What do you mean
Huge.
short king?
Yeah.
He's a short king. And
How can Hugh Jackman be a short king?
Have you seen Famke Jensen? She's like 6'4", and he was like right at her eyebrows.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Hugh Jackman's jacked.
X-Men 97, short king.
That's fair. Even
Also,
then, I don't think he comes
that
up.
suit. That suit's so good.
That suit
That
is
suit
good.
is so clean.
Mm.
Even then, what?
That is my main complaint about Hugh Jackman is that he's too tall. That's why I think Danny DeVito would be the perfect
I feel
Wolverine.
You don't
I-
think he's too small?
he's too small. He's too small.
But he's adorable.
He's like, what, 4'10"?
It's the perfect. Give me
barely
give me
legal.
Hobbit. Give me
He's barely
Hobbit.
legal.
Give me a Hobbit Wolverine.
I think that the Wolverine in X-Men 97 still doesn't come off as short, but he's supposed to be like 5'4".
Yeah, because he's
Buff as heck.
because he's just got this like energy about him. He's got this
He has
aura.
BDE.
You know what I really liked is Wolverine in
Big Danny energy,
Big Danny energy.
Big DeVito energy.
Oh, it is the Summer of Dan.
Oh, that's
Oh.
We're
right.
bringing that back. Where's your wife?
The summer. Oh,
Oh, I actually watched the show with my wife. It was awesome. I loved it. I was like, baby, let me be your Remy. And then she died, and I was like, oh, baby, let me not be your Remy.
wait, your wife died?
Mon
no,
ami.
no. Remy dies. I'm like, I don't want to
You
die.
said she died.
No, then he dies.
Oh.
I don't want to die.
Okay. Well, but you can always come
This
back.
this show is special to me because this was the first show I watched with my wife. Like, this was our first
Should have watched it with your mom.
binge show.
He rewatched it with his mom,
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Nah,
We all
your
live in
mom was
this-
too busy watching the Planet of the Apes movies.
She actually was. Because there'd be times where we both streaming Disney Plus at the same time.
Oh, you could do that?
So my mom watches these movies in Spanish, but the movies are not in Spanish.
They do have them in Spanish.
No, not
on Disney Plus?
Not the Planet
Not
of
the Apes movie
yeah,
specifically.
but she has a setting in Spanish. So when I watch X-Men 97, it's in Spanish because she has it in Spanish. I have to change that back to English.
But what
anyways.
about your wife? Doesn't she speak Spanish?
No, we're learning English.
Oh, so
She's
Your
pretty
mom,
good.
your mom, that entire time is like, "Esto muñequito."
I think we've lost the plot now. What-
But anyways, favorite moment from the show. Go.
That was a question?
No,
Hey,
you guys
didn't
both said
answer-
it.
But you didn't answer.
Oh.
You didn't answer your
Your own
question.
question, yeah, man.
What was the question again?
What makes the X-Men so
You're
special?
really trying to drag this out to 97 minutes, aren't you?
That's the point.
Okay, go.
What makes it? The X-Men are like, I think you both hit the different nails on their heads. But
That was correct, but it was phrased awkwardly. Continue.
that's life.
That's the X-Men.
That's the mess. Anyways, I think how we said it, it's focus chaos. I think that, you were saying how these episodes don't make, like, not that it don't make sense, but it's like it's all over the place. It's
Yeah.
fast, and it's like it's not like in a neat, pretty order in sequence. And I think that just mirrors life.
You're juggling.
And I think that, for these people being their superpowers, I feel like there's so many parallels that you can draw that, I mean, like, it's the point of this show is like to find the deeper meaning behind all this stuff. I think the X-Men is the epitome of that, where it's like you use stories, you use these larger than life characters, and then you break them down, and like you're able to relate to them. You're able to take the experiences that they go through, and vice versa. And like people that make these shows, people that make content, can put their personal stories, their personal touches into these characters, into these stories. And I think it's beautiful. Plus the animation kicks ass. So that's
right. Bub.
Yeah. At first, it was like I heard people criticizing the animation.
Nah, because they're not used to it. That's why.
And I was like, it perfectly encapsulates
No, it's better.
the style
It's
of
like-
it,
and
but
it's-
it brings it to now.
And it's
the
way
90s.
better.
It's like 4K.
Yeah, it's the art is awesome, but it's not so far gone that it feels like a different show.
Yeah.
It just feels. It also
It's like
feels
if they would have
it's
made a
like
new season
90s.
today, because that's what they did.
Guys, we need to get X-Men shirts.
You're right.
It's
You're
true.
right.
It's 1000% true.
I like the Xavier Institute shirts.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
I like how minimalistic they are.
I like the Phoenix logo. Just that, the firebrand.
I'm gonna see if I can get a Danny DeVito as Wolverine.
Oh, Dark Phoenix, that terrible movie, had great merch because it just had the Xavier Institute logo, just the X, and then it just had the Phoenix.
Yeah, because they had
the firebrand.
two. They had so they put the rest of the budget.
Yeah. They're like, how many toys can we sell? How many shirts can we sell?
Then and that's another thing. I feel like this just wasn't a cash grab. It's like you can
this is
feel
a passion.
the
This is a
love
project of love. Yeah.
and it's a labor of love. You feel the passion put into this.
If
and
anything,
that is like
Yeah.
what I live for.
if
bro.
anything, they didn't market it enough.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. I think the best marketing was word of mouth.
Yeah, because
That's how we watched
kids
it.
at schools were like, "What is X-Men '97?" and
Excuse
should
me,
I
what
watch
is
it?
X-Men 97?
Yeah.
And then I had to tell them.
Yeah,
It was the greatest show I've seen this year.
yeah. So there wasn't enough like a McDonald's toy. Instead, they had the Captain America toys. What's the name of the new movie? New World Order.
World
Is it
Order.
still
New
called
World
that?
Order, NWO.
Yeah, for life.
Hey, question.
Yeah.
What do you think? Bo DiMaggio? What is his name?
Bo DeMayo.
DeMaio?
DeMayo.
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 What do you think he did?
Nah, I
to
just
get-
wanted to say Mayo.
What do you think he did to get kicked out?
It must have been bad. I mean, not bad.
I don't think we're allowed to
maybe.
talk about that here.
I was wondering, man, because
Whatever it is, he hasn't said anything, so I'm pretty sure it's bad.
He probably hit on Bob Iger.
he sent a link.
A link. You
He
said.
sent the wrong link.
He sent the wrong link to a video of his to Bob Iger.
He meant to share. Remember it.
But he sent
He
the wrong.
tagged it. Remember it. It was the wrong.
But Bob Iger will remember.
But man,
it.
I honestly want to know what he did because, especially now that the show is a huge success, it's like, ooh,
It has to be bad for them to
It
not
has
get
to.
get him back, right? And the guy's like still actively like talking about it and
Yeah.
like sharing,
He's
supporting
still
it.
supporting it,
yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, I get it. Like you stuck your. Did we talk about this in an episode?
He
before?
stuck his
He
what?
stuck his foot in this thing, bro.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about this before, right?
What do you
that
mean?
I've said this expression, and you're just like, what does that even mean?
What
Yeah.
does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah, what does it mean?
I wasn't
He went
there.
off. He killed it.
Oh,
Okay,
He is really good.
if you insist.
He put his whole foot in that thing.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Does it mean that?
I don't know.
I put my whole foot in it. When has something been good by me putting my foot in it?
yeah. It sounds like a wrong
Wine?
expression.
Yeah, it sounds wrong. I'm not sure.
People crush grapes with their feet.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a wine reference.
Could be.
I crushed it.
Yeah, I crushed it. Okay. My favorite part of the show
Yeah.
was at the end when all the X-Men are transported across 3 different timelines. I mean, 3 if you include the present, right?
Mm.
Some of them are brought to the past, some of them thrown. And when it goes ancient Egypt and it gives like a year, my wife immediately was like, "Oh, apocalypse." And I was like, "So glad I married you." I was like, at that moment, I was like, "Let's shut it off."
He had his
Let's-
Han moment.
Oscar Isaac.
Like, I love you.
I was like, how?
Oscar Isaac is back, baby.
Yeah. But the fact that Apocalypse is on those 3 timelines, in the past,
Present.
in the future, and that tag at the end, which I had to tell my friend who didn't know, was like, "Why'd you say the present?" I was like, "Oh, the after credit. I have to go." And they went to go watch it. They didn't know there was an after credit. So if you
Come on, dog.
saw it, why would you expect this show to have an after credit? I always check just
What
in
the
case.
hell? It's a Marvel project.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But it's
Yeah.
X-Men 97.
What do you mean?
What type of question is that?
I had my doubt, but I was like, I'm still gonna wait for
Bro,
it.
I these people have traumatized me. I stay after the
everything.
credits for Challengers.
Yeah, I stayed for Oppenheimer.
That movie was a one-off, bro.
Anyways, I guess we got our answer with that after credit tag. How Gambit is coming back.
The Fourth Horseman.
I think so, yeah. And then I did my research and I was like, oh yeah, that's in the comics. It's modern, but I'll take it.
Mm.
So
What's your favorite moment?
Me? I don't know, man. There's so many good moments. I'm trying to remember. I really did, like you said, I really did enjoy the Genosha part when they were all partying and happy, because rarely do you get to see.
Also, the music was so good.
Rarely do you get to see mutants happy.
True.
So the
Yeah.
fact that we saw them happy
For 5 minutes.
for 5 minutes
and in
put
that
joy.
Before genocide.
And when they genocide Genosha, I guess it was in the name. when they blow up
GG.
GG. GG, my X-Men.
when they blow up Genosha. And
Why are you laughing when you say that?
Because
That's so rude.
I'm sorry,
People died.
cartoons died, but
Yeah.
they're mutants.
Tell that to your brother who's an animator.
They're
Tell
actually,
me he feels
they're
like-
actually not people. They're mutants. Okay.
Maybe Magneto was right. Maybe.
Yeah.
They're homo mutants.
I had a friend tell me that they side with the Friends of Humanity, and I was like, why? Because I'm human.
H out of here.
It sounds like friends of a certain dictator that I'm not gonna say his name.
Because we don't know if you're listening to this after election.
Oh, I wasn't talking about him.
Oh, me neither.
That guy's dead. The one I'm talking about. Oh,
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe X-Men '98.
I don't even know who you guys are talking
Che
about.
boludo.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about the guy Magneto's parents.
Yeah,
I still
Okay.
don't know what's
Yeah,
going
now I'm
on.
confused.
because he went to Argentina.
Oh, did he? I wasn't aware of that.
No,
That's canon.
That's a
That's
conspiracy.
canon. No, that's canon.
Conspiracy canon.
No.
What were you saying? Sorry.
I don't even know what I was saying.
Genosha GG's.
Oh yeah, that Emma Frost. She does her second evolutionary form, and she does
Oh
the
yeah, she
diamond
turned into
thing.
diamond.
And that was a nice reminder of, I guess that didn't happen in the original series, because to me that's such an important part of who Emma Frost is. And Emma Frost, I know her mostly from that Grant Morrison run where they wear all the leather jackets, and that's another thing that triggers me.
Was she coming on to Scott in that one?
No, they're together. They're because Jean's dead, and
Rip
and
Jean again.
I highly recommend that Grant Morrison run. It's weird, but the X-Men are weird, and that's another thing. That's another reason why the X-Men are so good. They're just weird. You just have to accept that. You know what it is? X-Men doesn't have a genre. It's sci-fi. It's fantasy. It's magic. It's
It's a comedy.
It's comedy.
It's erotic.
I always say that X-Men, the animated series, was the first soap opera I ever watched.
Yeah, I can just agree with that.
Love triangles.
It's basically pro wrestling.
That's true. And
So-
I don't know if a better way to end it like that.
Yeah. So on that note, if you haven't watched X-Men '97, watch it.
Do it.
And if you have, watch it again.
To me, my McGuffins.